What's up everyone, it's Karthik with MoneyVest. So, wanted to do a video on Tesla. It's going to be a little bit different of a video from the previous one that I did, primarily going over the actual earnings for the company, and of course breaking everything down, including the earnings call summary and everything related to their presentation and their financials and fundamentals. So make sure that you do check out that video as well. But this right here is going to be more geared towards the psychology of investing, okay? It's going to be a jam-packed video because I'm going to go over from the data from 12 days ago. You can see how quickly market sentiment changes and how quickly thoughts and opinions change in the market. It's crazy. I mean, we've done these case studies so many times, and now at this point, like after years of experiencing it, and of course having that social element of being a content creator, reading through the comments, going through the same process with Meta platforms, Enphase Energy, Tesla, Upstart, there's just been so many case studies for us to look at. It's become very obvious, and at the same time, it is something that's going to repeat itself over and over again. And the idea is the recency bias, right? And of course, there's other elements to that as well. So we had the Robotaxi event 12 days ago, right? So today I'm recording this video actually 14 days ago. So about 2 weeks ago, we had the Robotaxi event because I'm recording this video on October 24th. We had the event on October 10th. I did this video 12 days ago. For all Tesla investors, my message, Tesla stock got crushed and it was trading down in the low 200s. It was quite literally down in the 215s, low 200s. A couple weeks ago after the event, it continued to sell off, over 8,000 views. And if you were to take a guess, just take a guess of the overall sentiment from that video. In other words, the comments, not the video itself, because I put together a whole sort of, analysis and a thesis for why I believe that Tesla's playing chess over the long term, while every other auto manufacturer plays checkers, is focusing on the short term. Investors are focusing on the short term. Analysts are focusing on the short term. Everybody seems to be very short-sighted on this stock. However, people who are long-term focused, people who believe in the mission long-term, need to just relax. There is no need to panic despite the selling pressure that we witnessed on that day. Now, if you were to take a guess of the social sentiment in the comments, of course, it was extremely bearish. And look, I'm the person taking all the heat because that's just how it is, right? I'm putting myself out there. I'm in a very vulnerable spot, putting myself out there with my analysis, with my research, talking about different stocks, at different times. And there's always going to be different opinions. And I don't expect everyone to be on the same page at all times. Of course, that's never going to happen. That's what makes the market, right? Everyone's going to have a different opinion. And I've also got some comments that I really want to go over. And again, this is not me picking on anybody. It's just good case studies for us to analyze, because this is literally from 12 days ago, right? This is fresh. This is very, very fresh, because we did something very similar back when Meta was trading down in the low 80s, when everybody thought, that Meta is a dead company. And, us here at MoneyVest, we looked at the fundamentals, we looked at the numbers, we looked at the potential, and we believed that Mark Zuckerberg was going to turn things around, and he did. And Meta ended up being, trading back up to all-time highs and had a very, very strong recovery. Same thing with NVIDIA, and we've gone through these cycles for Tesla as well. However, this time around, I do genuinely believe that the time has finally come, and things are different. Things are very different now than they were, let's say, 2 years ago. And I'll explain later in the video. I'll go over all of these, some of the tailwinds that I believe are very strong. And, if there was one picture that could really go over everything that I believe about Tesla right now, it's this right here. This is the one picture that I only want to share about Tesla, which is, it's a picture worth 1,000 words, right? And this is literally how I view Tesla at this very moment in its growth cycle. It's because we are towards the end of a very, very, very long and dark tunnel. And we are now starting to actually see light towards the end of the tunnel. Why? And I'll go over some of what those lights are. And that's exactly why I have the word document. But I do strongly believe, and that's why I've been a little bit more hesitant in selling calls on all of my shares, because I do believe that Tesla's really on its way to breaking out and absorbing all that supply in the 300s. It's possible that we get to see that level before the year's end. But this, is a picture that I think depicts where Tesla is in its overall journey. And I'll explain that in more detail later in the video. But going back over to some of the more social sentiment cues, this person mentioned Elon is a good marketing person. Tesla doesn't need that hype for future product. He expected the stock will go to 300. Investors look at the margins. This is news-based stock, no fundamentals, no value. It is worth $100 in my view. So, okay, fair analysis. You know, of course, everyone's got their own opinions and their own perspectives. However, I essentially commented no fundamentals or no value, right? That is a factually incorrect statement, right? Because Tesla clearly has a lot of fundamentals. Like, it's got incredible amounts of cash flow. It's got one of the best balance sheet, if not the best balance sheet out of all auto manufacturers on planet Earth. It is profitable, right? It is doing almost 9-10% profit margins. Gross margins are well almost 20%. So it has fundamentals. It has value, right? There's certainly a lot of value there. Then another person said Tesla's best years are in the past. Elon as CEO has dropped the ball and lost focus with Twitter and Cybertruck. As a good CEO, should have kept the eye on the sub $20,000 cheap EVs, but lost 3 years to Chinese EVs. Now look, on the surface level, a lot of these comments make sense. If you're just starting to learn about the electric vehicle market, the technology around EVs, the technology around cell, batteries and FSD, on the surface, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, you could just read that comment and be like, yes, he's totally right. Elon Musk is just too focused on politics on Twitter. He's been delaying all these different Cybertruck, Roadster, sub $20,000 vehicle, and Chinese EVs. Look at that. BYD, NIO, XPeng, like all these different companies. It's so easy to agree with these comments. And if you don't have a deeper level understanding of what Tesla's really doing, it becomes very difficult. It becomes very difficult to be aggressive when everybody's panicking or everyone's under fear. That's why Tesla's such a debated stock. It's such a debated stock, right? So this person was even more brutal. Notice how he continually says, and if, right? That's because extremely overvalued meme stock Tesla is just operating on hopes and dreams now. And all these ignorant YouTubers are luring you sheep into the slaughter with him. Tesla's declining fundamentally. Again, factually incorrect. Like, I just don't know whether these people are even reading an income statement or a balance sheet or not. And those are actual facts, this person said. Hence why their earnings keep going down. But go ahead and base your future on Elon's dreams and maybe you will get lucky. But do your research. And this person even said that you deserve to lose your own money. Well, I mean, portfolio is doing pretty well today considering how much of an increase we've seen in Tesla. It's almost $20,000 gain. And if you come over to the Tesla market cap today, jumping over $156 billion. So again, look, I'm not picking on anybody. Of course, everyone's got their own opinions and perspectives on the market, but really it is a conversation that we need to have to better understand what Tesla is truly doing in order to really understand whether it's even worth holding on to Tesla for the long term or not. And there's always this comparison between Waymo and Tesla. There's always this debate on whether Tesla's future is really worth investing in or not. But I'm making a case here that based on electric vehicles, there is a lot of opportunity for Tesla to grow into multiple millions of deliveries in terms of EVs, and everything that you hear when it comes to innovation and cybercabs and robotaxis and FSD and energy and Optimus is like the icing on the cake. So it's not the cake, but it's the icing on the cake, and that's how I've always approached investing in Tesla. I've always been very clear about that a lot of these things are, just a lot of the smoke, and it's Elon over-promising and not being able to deliver to those timelines, but eventually he does deliver. So it's not the technology or the Robotaxi and FSD that makes Tesla special. It is the business itself currently that makes Tesla incredibly special, which is their existing technology, right? You drive any of these Teslas, most of the times the reviews have been very, very positive. They're one of the safest cars on the roads. And then when you look at the full self-driving technology, right? The software around V12.5 or V13, also very, very good, right? So you're looking at end-to-end neural nets, highways, streets, parking lots with actually smart simming. Nothing compares to Waymo's LiDAR radar system. I mentioned this literally 2 weeks ago on October 13th. I mentioned a lot of discussion and debate on Tesla stock post-Robotaxi event, as well as comparisons with Waymo, as it's already operational with level 4. So these right here are all the different levels for self-driving or automation. Tesla right now sits at level 2, right? So yes, you can, on the surface, once again, you can make a case that Tesla is way behind some of the other auto manufacturers like Waymo, already classified as level 4. But why is that? Why is that, right? What's the reason? Why would you think that Tesla, having the best talent, the best technology, why is it that they're behind a couple levels already on FSD? Well, because they're using a different approach to autonomous driving, right? There's no one solution to fixing a problem. There's multiple different solutions. There's multiple ways you can fix a problem. And I think, in my opinion, as I've said this before, Tesla is going with a better solution, and which is going to be long-term viable and cost-efficient solution than having an easy fix to the problem that we have. So, Tesla's unveil of Cybercab, as I said, was the highlight, in my opinion, as Tesla comes out ahead in AI technology, cost, and vision when compared to any other major auto manufacturer, right? That's literally what I said 2 weeks ago. That's what Elon Musk said yesterday in the earnings call. Tesla has collected the most amount of driving data, 1 billion miles. Now it's 2 billion as per their report, 50% more coming from V12, to build an end-to-end neural network which trains the AI to drive on its own. Waymo, on the other hand, uses the LiDAR, the radar systems, with over 51 sensors and 28 cameras and already operational, has significant limitations, right? I think there's a lot of restrictions that people don't understand. Once again, you have to have a deeper understanding of how these technologies work to make a comparison, right? There are limitations related to geo-mapping locations, too much dependency on HD maps, restricted to metropolitan cities with a 180 square mile radius. So Waymos don't actually go on the highways, right? They need operators. So the reason why we don't see any interventions for Waymo vehicles is because there's also people operating them behind the screens, right? So of course there's non-highway driving and a lack of training due to dependency on manual code. So there's new code that needs to be written in order for Waymos to drive in new areas. Not to mention the huge cost comparison between Waymo and Tesla, right? Waymos can cost anywhere from $100,000 to $125,000 when you compare the car and the technology around it, whereas Tesla Cybercab is going to be around $30,000, closer to $25,000, which is going to be fully equipped with the 8 cameras. Maybe in the future, if the cost comes down, maybe Elon's going to include some type of LiDAR on top of the vehicle or somewhere on the vehicle to better measure distance and depth, because I think a combination of those two is going to make the vehicle even more safe. But right now, with the 8 cameras that they have, it's going to be very cost efficient with Tesla Vision. And this is only the tip of the iceberg, right? And as most Wall Street and perhaps now even retail, as I said, given the comments on my Tesla video, right? So going back 12 days, I mentioned that, given the comments on my Tesla video, investors seem to be very unaware of Tesla's true innovation, which is software, right? That's what they're trying to solve. And, at the end of the day, if they sell 2 million vehicles or 5 million vehicles or 1 million vehicles, if they're able to solve software, which is the FSD, right? Which cannot be seen right now. That's the whole idea, right? You can't see software. It's going to be over-the-air software updates for FSD, launching new versions of full self-driving. Hence, it can be materialized. And once Tesla solves FSD fully, it's expected to make a massive leap from level 2 to level 5, surpassing all other competitors overnight that are using LiDAR radar systems. So version 12.5.6 was a huge update. Even NVIDIA's Jensen Huang said that Tesla is far ahead in self-driving cars. I mean, what else do you really need? A stamp from one of the best CEOs delivering one of the highest computing power in GPUs in the world from one of the most successful companies, kind of putting a huge stamp on Tesla, who is far ahead in self-driving. And I'll mention this over here as well, that they should be promoted to level 3, in my opinion, now after the recent updates. However, level 2 means you are driving, and even if FSD is engaged, and you may not be steering or have your feet on the pedal, but you are in control and ready to disengage if needed. Waymo is classified as level 4, but there's a significant capping up to that level here because of the significant restrictions that I mentioned earlier. Localized driverless transport, non-highway driving, and remote operators. There's a lot of restrictions there. So the reason why I believe that the time has finally come and there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and not the opposite, that Tesla's best days are behind us and we're kind of heading to this long dark tunnel. I do think that Tesla's best days are in front of us because of a favorable interest rate environment. We've got margin acceleration, so I do believe that the bottom's finally in for margins. We're going to see lower cost of goods sold. As inflation continues to come down, it's also helped Tesla in sourcing a lot of the raw materials, lithium-ion batteries, price of lithium, copper, aluminum. A lot of raw materials and commodity prices have come down, so lower cost of goods sold, which they did achieve, record numbers, $35,100, lower cost ever. And the best thing is that this is a company that's going to be passing over those to the consumer. They're not the ones that are going to retain all these cost savings to expand margins. They're going to find a balance between the two, and they're going to be passing that on to the consumer, which is going to lead to more affordable, models, right? That's where the focus is for Tesla in 2025. Most miles collected, we got most AI training compute power from Tesla, FSD getting significantly better, V13 coming out soon, massive growth in energy. And, I consider this to be a little bit of an X factor, which many people might find it very difficult to really grasp what this is. But it is really the idea that all the puzzle pieces are coming together for Tesla. When you look at where Tesla was about a year ago or a couple of years ago, they were kind of heading into a very, very tough macro environment, all right? Not to mention geopolitical tensions, factory shutdowns, war, strikes, interest rates increasing to the highest level that we haven't seen in, well over 12, 14 years. And so delivery numbers stagnated sideways, but they still stagnated sideways, right? Tesla could have very easily dropped deliveries 20, 30, 40% this year and it would have been a disaster. But despite all the challenges, despite all the problems that we faced from a macro perspective, Tesla still got it done. And that in itself is in my opinion, an X factor. Like, it's kind of hard to explain, but when you look at companies or when you look at sports teams, for example, right? And this is the only best example I can give you because I used to watch soccer, like I still do. I still watch soccer a lot. And, I played soccer my entire life, which is football, ex-US. Everywhere else in the world, of course, called football. So I used to play a lot and I've watched a lot. And the teams that just have this winning personality, they get it done. Despite all the challenges, despite everything that might be going against them, they just figure out a way to get it done. They just figure out a way to, at the last second, they just figure out a way to grab those 3 points and get out of there. Like it's the X factor that I like to call it, that winners just get it done, regardless of what the macro environment is. And so for Tesla in 2024, despite all the headwinds that it faced from so many different challenges for the company, in my opinion, it got it done. That was the job. 2024, given the entire environment with the price cuts and the higher interest rates and the geopolitical tensions and, significant hurdles, it was never supposed to be a year where we were going to see significant growth. It was supposed to be a year where it was going to stagnate a little bit sideways and just stay in the business, right? Stay in business and continue to preserve capital. And despite investing so much in robotics and AI, they were still able to prop up their balance sheet, which is also very phenomenal. So for me, look, I could be wrong in the future and I'll take that loss, proudly. But to me, Tesla is at a point where it's going through a massive growth cycle, as we have heard from Tesla's presentation, and it's now more probable than ever before that Tesla breaks above 300, that we haven't seen, a level that we haven't seen in well over a year. Last time Tesla was trading above $300 was literally back in September of 22, so it's been well over 2 years now, actually, that we have seen above $300. So it's now more probable than ever before that Tesla breaks above $300. That's all I'm going to leave you with. My fair value still sits in the 150s and 175, so that does not change. And the reason for that is primarily because I mentioned this in the live stream, that Tesla right now for me is still an electric vehicle business. Everything else is still hopes and dreams. It's not been materialized yet. And until it materializes, I'm not going to include that in my valuation models, in my price targets, and in my fair values. Reason being is because I don't know how much weight to give it. Yes, I can be the blind bull and I can come here and tell you like that's going to be the next big thing and Tesla's going to be the one executing it, but then I wouldn't be objective enough. I wouldn't be realistic enough. So I want to give you a very realistic, objective approach to investing. Tesla's certainly not a buy at 257, 258, not for me personally, but fair value is going to be sitting at 150, 175, around those levels. And then 2025, we'll see what more affordable vehicles we can see. Elon Musk has guided for 20 to 30% potential increase in deliveries. So there's a lot on the line here for Tesla. And like I said, it's more probable now than ever before that Tesla breaks above $300, a level that we haven't seen in over 2 years. So let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. And every time I say that in a Tesla video, it's always brutal. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Hope you all enjoyed it and found it helpful. Make sure that you drop a like, subscribe to the channel. Congratulations to all Tesla investors and shareholders and traders, people who believe in this company long term, in my opinion, are going to be the ones that benefit the most. Happy investing. I'll see you all in the next video.